An electronic press kit is what in marketing they would call a deck. It's a concise presentation that showcases who you are and sells you and your brand as an artist to the venue or promoter or A&R rep. They've really replaced traditional physical press kits. A physical press kit was something that a band really had to have in order to get booked. A physical bio, physical pictures of the band, portraits, 8x10s. A lot of the time it would include a demo tape. With an EPK, you have all of the major components that someone needs to understand who you are in one place. How your EPK should be structured. Think about the finish line, where you want to be. If your goal with an EPK is to get your band or yourself onto more shows or onto festivals, then you want to structure your press kit to get you to that goal. And you have to think about what things are going to get you there. Those might not be the same things that you would need to prioritize to get signed by a label or to get noticed by an A&R team. There are certain things that, regardless of end game, have to be in an EPK to be effective. The first and foremost thing is a link to your music. I cannot tell you how many emails I have deleted without replying in the last 6 months. Someone messaged me an email or DM'd me saying, I've got a band that needs a show, and that's it. There's no link to their music for me to check out, no link to a video on YouTube for me to look at, just, I'm in a band, I need a show. That is the equivalent of getting a job application, writing "I want a job" in all caps and handing it back to them and being shocked when you aren't hired. You have to give people a reason. When I say including a link to your music, I do not mean raw MP3 files. Nobody wants to download random BS from an email that they got from someone they don't know. It is not happening. You need to have your music uploaded to a service like Bandcamp or Spotify or Apple Music and provide those links. But that is the most important thing you have to have in your press kit. For it to go anywhere other than someone's trash folder, you have to have a link to your music. Make sure your bio comes across relatable. One of the things that is really lacking in modern entertainment is authenticity. We live in an era of green screens and algorithms and AI. People assume things are phony until it's proven otherwise. Your music and your art is not phony. Make sure that your messaging reflects that. A bio that makes you sound like you've done more than you have or is a bunch of name dropping, makes it seem like you have a superiority complex. Those little subtle microaggressions, those are things that people pick up on. And those are things that maybe make someone hesitate before they give you a shot. The most effective band bios that I've read over the years have been ones that just flat out say the band's mission statement did. Even if it's a fun hobby, it's still a business. If you look on any business's website, they will have a mission statement that says what they are about. It is usually a paragraph or less. Think about your art, put it in that box. Make sure that someone understands what it is they're getting. You're not compromising your art. All you are doing is making sure that you can get the message across in a way that they can understand. Make sure that you have your contact info, but you also need to make sure that you have one uniform person of contact. Have one email and one phone number where people can reach you. If you're not comfortable giving out your phone number, make sure that you're including something like an Instagram handle or something where they can DM you. Make sure you include all your social media links. Your EPK, it's almost like listing a job in a resume. Yeah, someone might just look at it and take it at face value. Make sure that your social media matches your EPK. If you have something on your EPK saying, we have over 100,000 followers on Instagram, and then they go onto your Instagram and you have 50,000, that's a problem. If you say that we're averaging 10,000 streams a month on Spotify, but when they click on your Spotify link, there's only 1,000 there, that's going to be a massive red flag to them. It's a little bit of a subtle thing, but it is something that I know that labels do look for, and I know promoters look for. If a band has a ton of followers on, say, Facebook or Instagram, but the actual likes and comments on their posts are mid to low, that means they probably bought those followers. And that is, again, a massive red flag to anybody considering booking you, because if you're willing to lie about how many fans you have, what else are you willing to lie about? And if those people don't exist, who's going to show up? There are relationships and friendships that my old bands have made on previous sites simply because we wrote people back and responded that we still carry to this day, a decade after the band is done. Building those authentic interactions goes such a long way in building the kind of fan base you really want to have. The other thing that I also look at when I'm looking at online presence is making sure that, as they say, the math is mathing. And if you've got a ton of followers on a particular site, but then I don't see the interactions, or I see that you've got, say, 100,000 followers on Instagram and your posts all have 20 likes and 4 comments, that tells me something's up. I'm very hesitant to work with an act that does things like that because I don't know necessarily what they're bringing to the table if they're willing to fudge numbers. One thing that you can really do to make your EPK stand out compared to other people's, beyond anything you can do visually with it in terms of colors or design, is keeping it to one page. It's the same mistake a lot of people make on job resumes where they make them super, super long. Most of the time with a resume, it's being read by a bot. So you just want to be bullet points. With booking and with venues and with A&R, you're still getting looked at and read at by a live person, but they're still also having the workload of having to go through multiples of these every day. You want to make sure that it's easy for them to read and to understand what you're about, where they can click on something and it takes you to their video, to their direct contact. You want to make it as efficient as possible. I know that there are some tools available online for building EPKs that some services offer. I think it's actually very worthwhile to build your own, which sounds daunting at first, but it's really not too difficult. If you have any experience using a basic graphic design system like Canva, for example, there are things you can do on there where you can convert things to PDFs, you can attach links. It's a very easy to read, very concise, neatly laid out EPK that is set up in a way that is very effective. The thing that I find the most impressive about it, it offers you the straight bullet points. You can tell who the band is, you can tell what they sound like, and you can tell what they've done. But it gives you enough information that if you need to do extra digging, you are able to find out the information you need. Let's say I was submitting this EPK to a venue in another market, Seattle at El Corazon. They would be able to look at this, see, oh, well, these guys played the Funhouse on their last tour. That's a similarly sized venue. I'm going to call the guy at the Funhouse and see how it did for them. There's ways to set up your EPK in a way that is direct, but also still offers people opportunities to get extra additional information. Most bands will include quotes from the local press, good reviews that they get for their live show or their records. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with including that from venues and clubs as well and other industry people. It might be a little bit trickier doing it with fans or friends of the band. What I think works more effectively is for someone to click the link to your Instagram and see that you're interacting with fans. Or in your videos, maybe have a video of you guys doing a meet and greet or doing an interaction with fans. If I see something like that in a band's video list on their EPK, I'm immediately going to go to that because that's not something I'm used to seeing. If you have new music, if you have a new video, if you have new promo pics or press, you definitely want to add that to it. It's kind of like a living document in the sense that you want to keep constantly updating.